Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism, and this video is sponsored by contribution from the princess, and she's got another story for us. Hi, Ollie. Before I get back to my story, I was recently reminded of an incident with my younger brother and older sister, which further demonstrates the neglect we faced. My younger sister went to a sleepover and came home infested with lice, infested. As you could see them jumping around her bed, and she was completely miserable with all the itching. That's funny because you know what? I had lice too when I was like 7, 8 years old. Got it in school. A bunch of kids got it, but this is another reason why I ended up hating my hair because this is like another traumatic incident that I forgot about. You know, you had to get the special shampoo, and I'm surprised my mother just didn't shave my head, but she just took pleasure in ripping that shit through my hair. And somehow it was my fault. I must have stuck my head. I must have been wearing somebody else's hat. I must have put on somebody else's sweatshirt. I was a liar. Stop lying. Whose hat did you wear? Whose clothes did you wear? Where did you stick your head? It was fucking brutal. It was brutal. And she had me laying on the kitchen counter with my head in the kitchen sink as she's ripping that goddamn comb through my hair, hitting me with the goddamn comb the entire time. It was like it went on for 2 to 3 hours. Hours. Oh. Oh. Oh, another reason why I hated my hair. Another reason I hated my hair. Like, misery. It was misery. I think I even asked, just shave my head. Just shave my head. No, you're gonna learn. Whose hat did you? I didn't wear anybody's. I didn't put anybody's hat on my head. Fucking monster. Fucking monster. So glad she's dead. I really am. I am just so glad she is dead. So instead of doing what normal parents do and deal with the situation, my mother had my older sister, who was around 11, 12 at the time, take my 5, 6-year-old sister to get for a haircut. They had to walk into town even though my older sister didn't think they'd cut my sister's hair. We all learned in school that you have to do a special treatment to get rid of them. You have to clean clothes and bedding and hot water, etc. I don't know if they still do this, but our school would do lice checks if there were instances of lice, which is what happened with me. And again, she was screaming at all the laundry she had to do and all the bedding. And my mother was obsessive with laundry anyway. My mother was should have just opened up a friggin' laundromat with the amount of laundry she did willingly. She loved doing laundry. Except when I got lice, then I was blamed for giving her all this fucking extra work. I remember them doing that at least a few times a year in school, but there was no reasoning with Mom. Anywho, Mom demanded they go and she sent them on their way. Now, just for a reference, to get to the village town part where we lived, you needed to bolt across 7 lanes of very busy road. 3 lanes one way, 3 lanes the other, plus 1 turning lane. And you'd have to book it across because the lights to cross were notoriously short and people liked to fly by on that section of road. Of course, they trek all the way to the salon and wouldn't touch a lice-infested head. I didn't think they would. Yeah, I didn't think they would, because now they're gonna get lice in that. Now they're gonna get lice in their salon. So my sisters walk all the way back home. Now my mom made my older sister take my younger sister to the doctor. So off they went. Walk back into town, grab the bus to get to the doctor's office, only to be told they need to get the lice kit from the drugstore. So off they went back home, grab a bus, and a long walk back home. Get home, Mom sends them off again, this time to the drugstore to pick up the lice kit. So instead of just going to the drugstore herself to pick up the lice kit, she had my older sister drag my younger sister around all day, completely suffering, head full of lice jumping around her head. And I'll tell you this, your mother was probably hoping your older sister got the lice too. See, again, this is another way for them to sabotage your hair, to sabotage girls' hair. And again, I've told you, I was raised basically like a daughter. I should have been a girl. Remember, they're also running across that busy road. My older sister had to help get the lice out of my younger sister's head. This is just one of many instances where she would push off her responsibilities as a parent onto my older sister or myself. Of course, she'd be complaining that it took too long when we got sent on these fool's errands instead of doing the smart thing, i.e. drive to the drugstore, pick up the medication, go home and apply. However, once my brother was born, she made sure she ran him up to the doctors. No walks in the town, no running across 6-lane busy roadway, no public buses for him. Okay, so back to what I originally wanted to talk about today. When there's the golden child. And that's how the borderline mother is, you know, because she sees your brother as a potential son husband. So she's going to emasculate him, turn him into a son husband, and make him the pseudo golden child. Okay, so back to what I originally wanted to talk about today. I know I mentioned in a lot of my stories when I was younger, I was constantly busting out into tears, not looking for attention, which is how it was always twisted around. We've always established I was my baby boomer's emotional dumpster, and between my older sister and I, we got the brunt of my mother's anger and rage, then thrown in my dad's anger. My mom, I could feel that rage and anger radiating off her to a point where I could walk into the house and say, oh, she's mad about something. And I was always right. Yeah, you could feel it. Like, I could feel it as I turned the corner. And my mother would like wait in the window with that fucking scowl. That scowl. I'm like, oh, God, now what? God, now what has she got? What has she got up her ass today? And she's mad about something, and I was always right. When I got older, I started feeling that once I turned the car onto their block, I would just know I was walking into something, and then I feel dread wash over me. It's the same. It's exactly what I just said. It's exactly what you know it when you turn the fucking corner. You can feel it. You can feel the karma coming. You can feel the bad energy. You know it's coming. You know it. You have no idea what it is, but you know it's there. That's crazy. My other sisters said they couldn't feel that, so I'm wondering if that's why I was more affected by the atmosphere of our home. Probably. You know, there's always one that's more in tune than the others. And that's you, that's me, that's a lot of us on this channel. When you bear the brunt, okay, you become more in tune to it. I always felt I was walking on eggshells, and the slightest misstep would trigger a rage. Sometimes I would cry a lot out of frustration, being raged against things out of my control. Sometimes I would cry because I didn't understand why I'm being screamed at. Sometimes I would cry because they would tell me it's my fault. Sometimes I would cry because I thought that was the only thing I could do. I would have to sit there and listen to her raging about this one or that one, how us kids ruined her life, and how it's all my fault for this and that. Jesus Christ, did we have the same mother? Did your mother have bottles of vodka strewn around the house, hidden in every goddamn corner? Wine and naked pictures of herself on the refrigerator? Because if you did, we might have the same mother. If I tried to leave or walk away, things escalated fast. We had to sit and listen to her crazy rants. She loved doing ranting in the car. We were all her captive audience. Yep. The car is, you know, when they got you captive, and the car is one of those places where you are just fucking trapped. You are trapped with them and their rage. One time she said she should have aborted us. I was young and didn't know what that meant. She would use the term abortion about things. For example, this house is an abortion. I knew it was something bad, so I was afraid to ask anyone. Next time I was at the library, I looked it up, and to my horror, I found out what she meant. Next time she said that, it was in one of her rages about whatever I should have under my breath. Next time she said that in one of her rages about whatever I said you should have under my breath. Of course, she called my dad and said I was talking back. I don't remember if I told him what she said. I just remember she was livid. Fast forward to the time in my life where I was sick for a year. One thing that happened when I was sick is that I had no energy for crying anymore. I no longer had the time, patience, even when I was recovering. I'd still get screamed at, but I was able to shut it out so much easier. Looking back, that must have crushed the supply to have me breaking down. Oh, yeah, once I learned to control my reactions, that only upped her rage more, until she could finally spark some kind of reaction out of me. And then I was violent, I was raising my hands, and then you got, get the bat, Michael. Get the bat, Michael. And here comes my brother grabbing the fucking Louisville Slugger that they used to keep behind their bedroom door. Here you go, Mommy. Oh, wrap that thing around your head, Michael. If I ever saw, oh my. The abuse would ramp up as I didn't react the way they wanted, or I didn't like that look on my face. Because I had no energy, I got numb to it, and I'm sure I just looked annoyed. I started talking back more, and that would ramp up the crazy. The below is something that repeatedly happened. I'm getting raged at and blamed for something. I do the teenage eye roll of my eyes and say, wait, how exactly is this my fault? From there, I'd get the no one can talk to you. You need to learn how to listen. They'd get a, you haven't stopped talking. You're not talking with me. You're screeching, talking at me. There's a huge difference. I'm not listening to this anymore. I don't care. Oh, and I would tell my mom, I don't care. That's where I would just be like, I don't care. I don't care. And she would just rage at that point. She would rage. Then as to prove some sort of point or to manipulate me into feeling bad, I'd get the very nasty, you've changed. You're not the person I thought you were. See, I was always a piece of shit, so there was no change in me. I was just always garbage. I was always shit. Then I would say something like, of course everyone changes. That's what happens. Life happens. I'm not listening to this anymore. Then I'd get the silent rage, and Mom would tell my dad I was talking back, and I'd have to actually explain I'm not listening to her nonsense anymore. I have no energy for this. Same thing I would tell my father. And the same thing my father would tell me, just ignore her. Because he didn't want to deal with her either. Unless it was convenient for him. Oh, the lunacy that went on in that house. I mean, it was always crazy, but when he was at work and not around, the crazy got ramped up 100-fold. Mom's rage toward me kept building up, and this will be important on when she finally broke me. One time I just dozed off in the middle of one of her rants where she would replay and repeat these scenarios. And the next time she was going to say this and that, getting more and more crazy. And there I am, fast asleep. Woo, she flipped out. I don't know if I need to explain what I meant above about these replay, respond, and repeat scenarios. I never came up with a good name for them. No, I get it. They keep just going and going and going until they get a reaction from you. It sounds really crazy, and I don't know what the hell it is. Is it if it is this a borderline thing? Yeah, of course. The borderline needs you to react to them. The borderline needs you to react to them so they have some kind of righteous indignation to use against you. So let me describe this crazy thing. So if she felt slighted or had a problem with someone, she would talk about the scenario when the slight happened. Each time she would repeat it and she would add things, assign motives, thoughts, etc. Then she would create the what am I going to say when I see them next. Each iteration would get more and more stuff added and imagined responses get more and more crazy. Yeah, I get it. My mother would always not only accuse you of things, accuse you of why you did these things you didn't do in the first place. And they're always bad intent. You're just doing it wrong so you don't want to do it again. You're just doing this to piss me off. You're just doing this because of this. You're just doing that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, crazy. So as crazy as it sounds, this would go on for hours. Exactly. They're going to go on. The borderline is going to go on for as long as it takes to spark a reaction from you. They're going to go on and on and on and on for however. It doesn't matter if it's hours, weeks, months, years, until they get the reaction they want out of you. For example, just say so-and-so and mom were watching the boys play a game. My brother misses a catch and so-and-so said, "Oh, I thought he had that catch. Good try." Somehow my mom is all offended. So now we go down a rabbit hole or replay, response, and repeat. First time scenario. So-and-so said my brother wasn't playing his best today because he missed that catch. First time response. Well, next time she sees them, she's going to tell so-and-so that her son can't throw for shit. More ranting, and then the scenario is repeated, but there is more stuff in it. Second time scenario, so-and-so said my brother is a terrible player and her son is a superstar. Second time response, well, next time she sees them, she's going to tell so-and-so she's delusional and her son doesn't have what it takes. More ranting, than the scenario is repeated, but there's more stuff in it. Yet they're going to keep upping the ante, okay, and making the store worse and more in their favor until they can get the reaction they're seeking. Third time scenario, so-and-so thinks my brother shouldn't be on the team, and she thinks that her son is a better player, and if it wasn't for dad being the coach, that her kids wouldn't have a team to play on. And her husband is an asshole, and she knows this and that, and everyone knows, and everyone says. It's like we had the same mother. I'm telling you. Like, this was my fucking experience with Little League, which was just trauma for all the years I played it. If it wasn't her making fucking issues in the stands, it was my father who had to coach every fucking team I was on, and I didn't want him there making an asshole out of himself on the field and with the entire league, making me a fucking pariah. Thanks. And on and on and on. Each time the story gets crazier and crazier. It can go on for hours. It's like she goes down this rabbit hole of crazy and we were expected to sit there and listen to this shit. There was absolutely no reasoning with her once these scenarios spiraled out of control. And the reason why she's holding you hostage is because she can't hold anybody else hostage. Because anybody with a normal brain and a normal upbringing isn't going to listen to this shit. Because your mother has no real friends. As my mother couldn't keep any friends for longer than a couple months. None of them. She was a coward and never did her confrontations, but she would treat the other person like garbage, all because of the crazy in her head. And you can't throw in facts or logic, as in, I was there, that's not what happened. And her gaslighting ass would say, no, you weren't there, and ramp up the crazy talk. She would blame us kids for the status of her life. For example, I had started college, and one day I was stuck in the car with mom, and she starts raging about how we ruined her life, and how she could have been something if she didn't have kids, and she could have gone to college, and on and on and on. There's the borderline mother's competition with their daughter, right there. Jealous that you're going to college and trying to make it so you don't have it better than she does. That's the borderline mother. I've heard this lecture many times before, so after a minute or two I had stopped her with a, hold on, who forced you to get married? Who forced you to have kids? Stop blaming me for decisions you made before I was even born. You want to go to college? Go to college. Take a class. Dad has the money. He'll pay for it. Stop complaining. I've been hearing this for years. I'm done with it. You decided to get married. You decided to have kids. You have a beautiful house. You want for nothing. You don't need to work. People would love to be in your shoes. Oh, I got the silent treatment after that. Oh, of course, because you checked her. Blissful silence for a while. I wish my mother wouldn't talk. I wish my mother would give me the silent treatment. She thought she gave you the silent treatment. Now you're going to get this. And she'd tell you, now you're going to get the silent treatment. You know how long the silent treatment lasted? For about 3 fucking minutes. That was her silent treatment. She completely ignored me for a couple weeks. Oh, God, why? I wish. She completely ignored me for a couple weeks, and my ears got a much-needed vacation. Oh, I bet they did. Mom would give us the silent treatment in front of other people like she was fucking proud of it. When we were little, we would beg and plead for her to talk to us again. Oh, never, never. Please never talk to me again. Please never, even as a kid, little kid, please never talk to me again. Please. It's a cruel punishment to children. Then when we were older, we made a point to talk to her in front of people and expose her nonsense. I'd say, "Oh, Mom, do you need anything from downstairs?" We'd have her nose up in the air with that smug expression. Then I'd say, "Oh, right, I forgot. You're not talking to me again because you got mad I had to leave for work on time yesterday." Then she'd bitch at my dad how we made her look bad in front of other people. Oh, she didn't need our help to look bad. She didn't care who she acted horrible in front of or who she treated horribly. Exactly, because the borderline lives in their own world. They think the borderline thinks they're fooling everybody else. They really do. They live in their own world. They live in a world where the pants fit. Dad would usually behave when other people are around. Dad would tell me to suck it up and shut her up, and he didn't want to hear it from her. However, once she realized that we enjoyed the breaks of her not talking to us and ignoring us, she didn't do it as much. Now the silent treatment when we were kids really fucked with our heads. She would completely ignore us and act like we didn't exist for any perceived missteps we made, a lot of which we had no clue what was going on. We got the silent treatment for correcting her when she was talking to somebody, when she was making up stuff to make herself look better, and made me or my siblings out to be an asshole. She would twist things around and make herself the center of attention. Stuff that was in her head, as in she knows what we are thinking. She knows what we are talking about her. Didn't like the reactions we had, not moving fast enough. I read an article a couple years ago about the damage the silent treatment does to small children. I shared it with Dad and told him this is why he should have gotten Mom in check when we were kids. There was one part of the article which mentions emotional abandonment, which checks off one of my boxes. I also had some physical abandonment issues. We would be forgotten in so many ways. For example, Mom would sneak out with my brother, get him breakfast sandwich in the mornings. What about your other kids? Like I said, the borderline mother dotes on the son, because she's looking to make a son husband. She's not expecting you to take care of her. She's expecting your brother to take care of her, the son husband. She would promise to pick us up from somewhere, then refuse to come get us, so we'd have to trek back home on a busy road 4 or 5 miles in the snow or rain. She don't care. Once, some people my dad knows saw us walking in the snow on a busy road with no sidewalk. They stopped and drove us back home. Dad chewed Mom out because it made Dad look bad that Mom refused to pick us up. We definitely let Dad's friend know that Mom refused to pick us up and the buses weren't running, and she told us to walk. They were mortified, to say the least. Oh, they hate it. Oh, the boomers, the boomer hates it when their abuse gets out. And it's not, and when it, especially when they got nobody to blame but themselves. See, Something like that. He can't blame you for walking home because she's the one who told you to walk home in a blizzard. They can't stand that. Oh, they hate that. They hate it when their abuse gets exposed by their own doing. However, she would run around and take my brother to sports, and he would get special meals. He didn't have to stand at the bus stop in the rain. She would drive him down to the bus stop, and he got to sit in the car until the bus came. Didn't do that for any of the girls. Neglect, crazy, and gaslighting. That was my childhood. I appreciate your thoughts. Thanks, the princess. And my mother treated my brother the same way. I was walking home from school in kindergarten. From kindergarten on, I was walking home from school. A lot of the kids were. A lot of the kids did. Wasn't a big deal. Wasn't a big deal back then. That was, what, 1976, 1977? My brother never had to walk anywhere. Anywhere. I mean, that's why he was always 100 pounds overweight as a kid, too. She'd feed him fucking tots, chicken nuggets, and yogurt and TV dinners for the first 10 years of his life. And then, like, why is he 100 pounds overweight? And then just drove his ass everywhere. Can't figure that out. Can't figure that out. Our stories are very, very similar, princess. Very similar. The hair stuff, the abuse, the getting caught. See, that's the funny thing. When they get caught by their own doing is when they really lose. And that's when they'll turn on each other. See, that's when the baby boomer parents turn on each other, when their abuse gets exposed by their own doing. And that's always a good feeling because they got nobody to blame at that point but themselves. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much, Princess, for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.